Alright, hello everybody. Here we are back again, another episode of Baker Barbecue. And today we're going to be doing some country ribs. We're going to do some barbecue braised country ribs. So what we're going to do with that is we're just going to season them up. First we're going to sear them on some hot coals. And then we're going to put them in a beer and barbecue liquid to braise them for about an hour. That braising process, if you don't know what that is, essentially braising is just a fancy word for boil. So we're putting the meat after it's been seared into a liquid. Again, our liquid is going to be based on barbecue sauce. We're going to use some Sweet Baby Ray's and some Stubbs Sweet Heat and some beer, and we're going to make that mixture. It's probably going to be about half beer and then a quarter Sweet Baby Ray's and a quarter Sweet Heat barbecue sauce, and let that braise for about an hour. And that's going to really help tenderize that meat. That braising process really helps break down the fibers of the meat and just softens it up, gives you an amazing texture. And you still get the nice charred barbecue effect, because after it braises, we're going to take it back out of that braising liquid and we're going to finish them back on the grill, back on the hot coals with some barbecue sauce to finish them off, get them nice and caramelized. Should be really good. So I'm going to show you where we start with our seasoning in just a second, and we'll show you the progress, step by step, and we'll go from there. So we'll see you in just a second. Alright, so here we are, we're back. We're about to season up our meat. Here we go. You can see our country ribs. We've got them just laid out. Today we're going to be using some Rufus Teague spicy meat rub. We've used this on pork before. It is really, really good. It says spicy meat rub, but don't let that scare you, because honestly, it does have a little bit of a kick to it, but it is not super spicy. If you're somebody that doesn't like, really spicy food, this really isn't something you should be afraid of. It's just got a little bit of a kick, enough flavor to let you know it's there, and it is just really, really good on pork. So we're going to season that up really good. Get a nice, you really want a nice coat on there. So we're just going to flip these guys over, do the same thing to the other side, let that sit for a few minutes, and then we're going to go check on our charcoal, see how that's going, and we'll show you all that. We'll be back. Alright, we're back. We've got our coals in our grill nice and hot right now. We're going to sear our meat up. This is our first batch of coals we did for our searing. So we're probably going to use one more chimney full of coals in the entire process here. We're about to get that lit after we get the pork on to sear. If you have any questions about the chimney starter that I use, you can look back on some of my previous videos, or certainly ask any questions in the comments. I'll be happy to go over that. It's pretty simple. But what we're going to do now is we're just going to get this meat on. It's been sitting for a few minutes in that spicy meat rub we used. So we're just going to pop these guys right on there. Again, right now all we're doing is we're just searing them up, because we're gonna do most of the cooking for these guys is gonna be done in that braise that we talked about. So we're just gonna let these guys sit here for a few minutes, and as soon as they get nice and seared up, we'll show you that. We'll show you our braising mixture that we're gonna make, and we'll be back and show you all that in just a minute. Okay, so we've got our pork searing. It's going pretty good. We're about to make our braising liquid, and like I said, it's gonna start with beer. We're gonna use a little bit of Sweet Baby Ray's. We don't have a whole lot in there, but we want to maximize our usage of that. So we're gonna pour some beer in there, give that a good shake so we get all the barbecue sauce out of that bottle that we can. And that's going to work out okay, because again, beer is going to be a major component in the braising liquid itself too. So that's going to take care of that. We'll pour the rest of that beer in there. Going to do some Stubbs Sweet Heat. Pour some of that in there. And again, I'm not really measuring anything. You know, if I had to guess, it's probably about 50% beer, probably closer to 60% beer, 40% other liquids. For a little sweetness, we are going to add a little bit of pineapple juice too. Just a little bit there. And we made our container pretty big, so we're going to add just a little bit more beer there too. You really want to make sure that braising liquid really covers that pork good. And then basically you're just going to give it a little stir up. And there you go. That's ready for the pork to go in there. And once that gets finished searing up, we'll show you the pork. We'll pull that off, put it in the braising liquid, and you'll get to see that. And then we're going to let it cook for a while. We'll be back in just a minute. Our pork all seared up good. It's looking really nice. We've got a nice little char sear to the pork. It's definitely got a ways to go till it's actually done cooking, which is perfect. So we want to go ahead. We've got our braising liquid up here, so we're going to go ahead and just pop our pork right in that liquid. So we want to get that liquid all over that pork. That's going to be good stuff. Now our pork is in our braising liquid, looking good. So we still got nice hot coals. We're going to go ahead and close this down. Let it get up, let it heat up. Let it braise. We're probably going to braise that for probably about at least 40 minutes, I would think. And then we'll finish it back on the grill. So we're going to get that started. We're going to close that down and let it just heat up. We'll start another chimney of charcoal so that when we're ready to finish it, we've got nice hot coals again that are going to re-char that and put a nice crisp caramelization on our barbecue sauce once we're ready for that. So this is just going to cook. We'll be back when we're ready to show you more. See ya. All right, here we are. We've had our pork braising for a while. You can see our we're running right about 300 inside our grill there. So we're gonna go ahead and open that up. We've got some nice nice hot coals there still ready for charring up that pork. You can take a look at the liquid there that they've been braising in. You can see how it's actually reduced a little bit, evaporated out, simmered. Yeah, and actually I wanted to make a correction. My wife was kind enough to correct me. The braising is actually more of a simmer, not a boil, as I had mentioned earlier in the video. So it's actually just a nice slow simmer that it cooks in that liquid. It was going pretty good earlier. It's kind of cooled down a little bit now, but we're looking really good. We're going to go ahead and just take this stuff out of that braising liquid. Go ahead and pop it back on the grill. We want to put a little bit of char back on that pork and get some barbecue sauce on it to let it really caramelize nice. So we're just going to let this sit on the grill. We want some of that juice to sort of dry and evaporate off of that pork from all that braising liquid that was on there. So we're just going to let that cook for a few minutes and we'll flip it. And when we're ready to put the barbecue sauce on in just a couple minutes, we'll show you that. We'll be back.
I know you wish you could smell it.
Okay, so we've put the pork back on the coals. Basically, all we wanted to do before we put our barbecue sauce on was just evaporate some of that liquid from the braising liquid off of that pork. I know as far as the braising is concerned, I know in the very beginning I said probably about an hour, and then when we started the braise I said about 40 minutes. It actually ended up being in the braising liquid for about an hour and 15 minutes. The reason we changed that up is because our temperature had dropped down a little lower than I wanted it. And the braising liquid wasn't getting to a simmer good. So I added more coals to get it heated back up. And that way it needed to sit in there for a little bit longer to really get that pork cooked to the proper temperature. So that's all been done and we're good now. So we're going to go ahead and add some barbecue sauce to these and let that caramelize up good. And so we're just gonna spread some of that on. We're using the Stubbs Sweet Heat for this. Should complement it well just because we use some of that in the braising liquid. You could use, it would also go good with the Sweet Baby Ray's we used in the braising liquid as well. You know, something that you used in that braising liquid is really what you want to use for your finishing sauce, just because it does, it's already got some of that flavor in there. It's just going to complement that well. As far as the braising liquid, you know, you can use whatever you like, whatever sauces you like. This is what I do. So we're going to let that caramelize for a little bit.
The same thing.
And then we'll flip that, probably put some sauce on both sides, probably twice, to get a really nice caramelization, a nice layer of sauce on those. And then we'll be ready to take them off and get our plates ready. So once we're ready to get these off the grill, we'll show you what they look like. We'll see you then. Alright, here we are, just about finished up. You can take a look at our country ribs. They've got just a beautiful glaze on them from the sauce. You can still see that bark, a little bit of char from the grill, and the tenderness from the braise. You can't see that yet, but trust me, it is there. That is looking really good. We're going to take these bad boys off the grill, get them in the house. We've got some angel hair pasta and some peas we're going to eat with that. So we're going to take this stuff in, get our food plated up. We'll show you our finished product, what everything looks like on our plate, ready to eat in just a couple minutes. And we'll see you then. All right, so we've got everything off. We're about ready to eat. We've got some creamy garlic and herb angel hair pasta, sweet peas to go with our pork. We're just going to cut that open and just look at the tenderness. Look at that, how tender that pork is from the braising. And that's something you really, braising that just locks that moisture in there, keeps it so tender. And the outside still has that nice glaze, barbecue glaze that everybody loves. So I think this is going to be absolutely delicious. I'm going to enjoy it. We've only got one thing left to do, and that's eat. So this is Baker Barbecue. Enjoy your meal. I know I'm gonna. See you next time.